the behavior is a result of thinking.
Yes.
So what must they have been thinking to do that behavior? Because no one does something like that or anything, like you're saying, deliberately. It's just that that's the choice they go. And when we understand where someone is coming from, when we understand the thought bubble that they're in, then we can understand their behavior. And then we don't have to act from anger because we understand it. And then we can guide them to a better way, or we can show them a different kind of thought process instead of disciplining the behavior, because that's not going to change anything. The behavior is the last thing that's happened.
And, and then that's where more and more self-hatred comes from, because we discipline someone's behavior and we tell them that they're wrong. And then they
Mm-hmm.
internalize that.
Yeah, and then
When,
shame, and then yeah.
yeah,
Innocent
when
programming.
really, if we can be like, well, yeah, you made a shitty choice and now you got to sit where you're at, but let's look at the thinking that got you here and how we can change that.
Mm-hmm. Can you
Yeah.
imagine the difference that would make?
I've talked about that with somebody before about, if this was just taught at a much younger age,
Mm-hmm.
what a difference would it make if this was something that was just kind of implemented into the school systems too, in the grade school years or early years. Ah,
Grade
Yeah.
school, I think that teachers should learn this, you know. I've
Mhm.
troubled kids. Let's take this to group homes. Let's take this to the high schools and middle schools. Let's take this to the special ed teachers and just the regular teachers too. You know, it doesn't matter where you're at. This is the solution.
Mhm.
That's the crazy thing about the three principles. It doesn't matter what your situation, how far deep you're in it, or how old you are, or what you like to do. None of that matters because all of that is just content.
Mhm.
You know, I was doing one of my classes yesterday and we were talking about like separate realities and how those are formed and how we each have this foundation of our beliefs and our morals and the action comes from what we listen to. And just learning that all of that, our beliefs, our moral, it's all just thought. It's all thought.
Mhm.
So it's not solid. It's not real. But below that, and the funniest thing is that the realest thing around you can't see, touch, hear, taste, smell, because it's formless. And that's where we get caught up. Because what is real and there always guiding us can't be seen, can't be measured. And I'm not even sure where I was going with this.
Yeah, I don't know. I've kind of falling into that space between thought, and I'm back there again. Just oh,
so the thing that you touched on there a little bit, Jen, but you were learning in your class last night, value systems. When each of us are born, we are handed a value system. It's not even ours. Like you were saying, they're not even our thoughts. And you know what's funny? They're not even our parents' thoughts necessarily, or, their parents' thoughts. Our value systems that we're born into, because everybody is born into one. they're shaped and molded and like, from different decades and different time periods throughout history. Well, this was acceptable, this was acceptable, this was not, this was not. Okay, well, this doesn't work anymore. Throw it out. Let's bring this in, put this in. They've been molded, shaped, changed, turned, handed. The funny shit is with all of that, it was all somebody else's thought to begin with. It was never our own original thought. It was just what we were handed when we're born. So yeah, belief systems are pretty cool, like to look at, because when I took a class on it, I don't know, it doesn't matter, like a year or two ago. Um, it was really cool because when I looked at like how they broke down by the decades, like, and they started with the 1900s, 1910s, so on. Oh my gosh, I could see stuff from like my great grandma who was born in like 1910 that was handed to me in my belief system that as growing up, I believe to be a truth because that's what I was taught. So I found their belief systems can be really interesting, especially when you dissect them a little bit and see like how ancient is that belief.
I think it's good to do that out of curiosity and fun,
Yeah.
but knowing that, again, that is just thought in this very moment. Even that, like thinking that it's come from that far, is still just thinking. And
Yeah.
like, I know what you mean because it is fascinating.
Well, and you have to think lots and lots of people are handed hate. They are taught hate. I know that's what I was taught. I was I was taught to be racist. I was taught to hate. I was taught to not trust anybody. I was taught that. Do I believe that? No. But I had to be able to see that those weren't mine. That wasn't mine. Someone tried to give me that, and I didn't have to pick it up. And before I knew that,
And we can drop it at any point.
yes, you know, and then to just be aware of it, because sometimes it comes up, you know. For example, the man's the money maker. So when money gets tight and I get stressed or whatever, why is it that I look to my husband and I'm like, why the fuck aren't you working more? We need more money. Like, this is your job. Like, no, dude. No, I'm just as much a partner. That isn't even my thought. That it's his job to make the money, but it's a thought that got handed down and passed down that when pushed and put in a tight situation, grab onto it because, hey, it's not my problem now, it's yours. Fix this.
I love that accountability aspect again. It's not my problem,
Mm, yeah.
and it's theirs. Can't possibly be mine.
Well, and I'm horrible
Yeah.
because it, like, yes, I have a car. I drive it. I do that. But guess what? Checking the oil, that's not my job. You know, and I get that that's a thought process. And I do it now. And I do it. But it's funny how many thoughts aren't even ours, but are just so automatic.
Well, it's just a case of like we've thought it so many times that we don't have to be consciously aware of it anymore. It's like learning how to drive. You learn how to drive and you have to remember all the things. You have to remember indicator, the gear stick. Well, I mean, you probably guys are automatic, but the gear stick, looking in the mirrors, and you have to remember all this stuff. But then as soon as you become used to it, you're still thinking about doing it, but you're just not consciously doing it. You're subconsciously doing it.
Mhm.
You know, and it's the same thing with beliefs.